Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Number brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm Allie Russell.
And I'm Karlina Sample.
And we are your hosts for today's episode, which is going to look a little bit different than normal. So typically, like we've been doing this past semester, we have current student athletes come on. But instead this summer, we wanted to switch it up and have some retired student athletes from A&M come on and share not only their experience and journey at Texas A&M, but also what they have been doing after. So we felt that it was only right to have on former Texas A&M football player and 12th man Cullen Gillaspia to join us today. So Cullen, how are you?
I'm good. The retired part hurts a little bit. Maybe like
We are too. We are too now. We get it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Completely understand.
Yes. Well, Cullen, we're like Allie said, we're so happy to have you on as our first guest. And it's a little different segment, different environment via Zoom. But thanks again also for coming on with us. Something that we always like to do in the beginning for viewers who may not know of you or know much about you is just give them some brief history in terms of who, or where you're from, and who you've played for. So Cullen, also like Allie, is from Katy, Texas, and attended Katy Taylor High School, attended Texas A&M as a fullback in 2014. Like Allie said, was our 12th man until he stopped in 2018. After that, he entered the draft and was drafted to the Houston Texans. And then after that, played with the New York Giants and also most recently in the Seattle Seahawks. So, that was like a mouthful. Cullen, we always like to get the full story from our guests in terms of how they got to A&M and their journey in terms of what it was like while they were there on campus. So if you could rewind real quick for us and take it all the way back to your freshman year and just kind of tell us about how you got to A&M, Texas A&M, and your journey to deciding that that's where you kind of wanted to go for college.
Yeah. After my opening remarks about being a former or retired athlete, first of all, thank you all for having me on. I'm excited to be here. Happy I'm y'all's first former retired athlete, student athlete. So kind of to take y'all back, I don't know. I think some people have heard my story. It's pretty kind of what you would expect from a walk-on, probably a little bit different. Coming out of high school, I had a few like Division I offers. Most of them were like Ivy Leagues. I think North Texas was kind of like my only true Division I offer. So to me, I was like, yo, I'm done with this whole sports thing. I'm done with football. I didn't even like consider, like I was playing baseball as well. I didn't even consider college baseball. I was like, I'm just going to go to A&M and join a fraternity and have fun and do my thing. So that's basically what I had decided I wanted for my college experience. So because I knew that if I was going to play football, I wanted to be at a major Division I school.
Yeah.
And some of the schools that had recruited me were a little bit smaller, and there's nothing wrong with going to those places. I just knew I'd been up to A&M a couple times, and when I was in high school, and really enjoyed the environment. My mom went there. And so I kind of just knew that it was the place for me, and I kind of knew what I wanted out of my college experience.
Yeah.
Which was drink beer. But about 2 weeks after I decided I was going to go to A&M, I got a call from the recruiting department, and they asked me if I wanted to be a preferred walk-on. So I said, you know what, I'm already going to school there. Sure, why not? So got to A&M, got here in the summer with all the scholarship guys. You know, I actually had to go home for my for my high school graduation. I was already in college before I graduated from high school, so that was kind of a weird deal. And all my friends were enjoying their last summer together, going to the Bahamas for their senior trip, and I was calling my mom at 5 a.m. telling her I wanted to quit because they were having fun. And Larry Jackson was making me throw up every morning in workouts. So
we get it. We get it.
I would say, yeah, y'all.
That's our early morning.
Right? Yeah. In the summer especially.
Yeah. So my first 2 years were kind of more of the same of that. I didn't play my first 2 years. I came in. I don't mean to correct you, Karlina, but I came in as a linebacker. I spent my first 4 years as a linebacker, and then my fifth year I switched to a fullback. But I didn't really play in my first 2 years. And I very much was considering hanging up the cleats because I was having a lot of fun off the field. And I was like, I'm not going to go to the NFL. Like, I'm not going to be a professional athlete. Like, what's the point of this if I'm not playing? Like, I'd rather just get my degree and be done with it. But I kind of knew that I got beat after my second year of college, my redshirt freshman year. Going into my sophomore year, I kind of saw there was an opening for the 12th man spot. So I kind of like put all my eggs in that basket and went for it. Became the 12th man. Played 2 years as the 12th man under Coach Sumlin. I was a linebacker. Jimbo comes in. I switched to fullback, started playing offense, and was a 12th man for that third year. And I was long-winded at the beginning, but kind of fit in 3 years in the back end pretty quickly. But that's kind of the story of my career at A&M.
Yeah, and so when talking about you earning the spot as the 12th man, which is incredible, and I watched you be the 12th man in your career here, what was that like when you say you're putting all your eggs in one basket? What was the opening period like? Or do they come to you guys and are like, hey, we're seeking out a 12th man? Or what was that period like?
I would say they don't say we're seeking out a 12th man. The guy before me had it, Sam Miller. He had it for 3 years, and he had graduated, so everyone knew that they kind of had to pick a new 12th man. And generally, the only requirements of the 12th man are that you're on the kickoff team. Like, a lot of people say there's a bunch of different stuff you have to do. In my eyes, the requirements of being a 12th man are being a walk-on and being on the kickoff team. Other than that, you don't have to play punt. You don't have to play punt return. You don't have to play offense or defense. Those are your things. So for me, it was like that spot's open. And I'm already performing pretty well on special teams. Like, I played my sophomore, or I guess my redshirt freshman season, I played on like 3 plays on kickoff. And I knew that I was always one of the guys on scout team, special teams that was, putting in the most effort and was really competing with these guys. So I knew that I kind of had a shot. So for me, that entire spring, I just went with one focus of, hey, I'm going to ball out on special teams. I don't care about linebacker. I don't care about anything else. I'm here to play special teams. It's what I enjoy. It's what I'm going to do. And it kind of gave me that extra motivation that there was, a light at the end of the tunnel. There was something to work towards. And towards like the end of that spring and that summer, like people had already kind of started calling me 12. And so like the stars
it was lingering. It was in the air.
Yeah, the stars started to kind of align. And then actually, funny enough, I got a scholarship the week before I became the 12th. And so I got a scholarship my junior year.
That's
awesome. Or I guess going into my redshirt sophomore season. And then the following week, like the night before the game, myself and the deep staffer were still number 45. And so they gave me the jersey that night. But it was, it was a really big honor and meant really, really the world. I mean, the coaches picked it, but it really was, just such a huge honor to get to wear that number and, represent the university and the student body.
And when you talk about also being rewarded that, and so them giving it to you that night, what was that like, that experience in itself?
It was, I'm not going to say like it was like a surprising moment. Whenever I got the scholarship the week before, like I was actually shocked. Like I told my buddy as we're walking in, because we knew it was the day they were going to give walk-on scholarships. And I was like, hey, Mac, like I'm gonna go get my scholarship today. And like, we both like laughed it off. So it was a complete joke. And then it just kind of happened. But for that one, the scholarship was just like complete shock, but receiving the actual like jersey and seeing my name on it, it was really, I don't really have the words to describe it. It was like all the hard work, everything you had done for the past year and worked towards like accomplishing a goal. That was it. Like I put my mind to something. I knew that I wanted to go after this, and it happened. So it was really just, it was super rewarding to feel that and to finally know that, hey, you could have quit. You could have stopped playing football. There's a lot of things that you could have done, but you stuck it out every single day and you went through the suck and, it has paid off. You've really, it was just it was a great moment of having a lot of your aspirations come true.
Yeah.
That was kind of like my next question is, what can you kind of talk about that shift in mindset that you had in terms of when you first got to school and you saying you weren't really focused on football and worried about football, and then receiving a scholarship, just the mindset that you started with, and what made you keep continuing to persevere, not knowing what was going to come out on the other side until you got it, basically.
I would say I'm not good at change. Never been good at change. I moved out of my apartment today. I moved into my house, and like I bought a house. And I'm so
that's so exciting! Yeah, congrats.
But like I was still like,
it looks beautiful behind you.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, it looks nice.
I know.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on.
It's amazing.
It was similar to that. Like I didn't want to leave my apartment. I was like, I'm a homeowner now. I don't want to leave my apartment. And so it was kind of like going to college early and having to make new friends and really getting pushed out of your comfort zone, where I was just like, yo, like this is not what I wanted out of college at all. You know, I didn't expect myself to be up at 5 a.m. I expected myself to be at the pool at noon after my one class a day, talking to girls and drinking ice cold beers. Instead, I'm going to bed at 9 p.m. and waking up at 5 and hating my life every day. So, and then watching, you know, that was when Snapchat just came around and social media, and trying to take in watching all of your other friends, being able to see everything they're doing at all moments. So like, it was just this, and trying to make new friends. It was this really like toxic headspace to be in. And then, like I said, my mom was like, yo, just like make it through the summer, just run out of the stadium one time, run on the field, like have a good time, like just experience that. Like you've already done most of the summer, just do that. So I did it, and it was like the coolest thing ever. And I got to stay on the sidelines. And even it actually kind of worked out great, because my freshman year, I didn't even dress out for every game. So like I would get to go and like tailgate some games, be on the field. Oh,
that's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, what?
Really?
Yeah. My sophomore year, actually, when we played, or I guess redshirt freshman year, I still wasn't playing, but when we played Alabama, I was dressing for, I told the story a while ago, but I was dressing for the game, but like, we didn't have to be there until like an hour and a half, 2 hours before the game, but like the coaches weren't paying attention to like the guys who weren't dressing. So I actually tailgated and like ran over like 30 minutes before the game, got my jersey on. I had my cleats with me. It was a whole bad deal. But,
that is so funny.
At least you were prepared.
Yeah, I knew what I was doing. But I basically, after that sophomore season, you know, your freshman year ends, I kind of started to make my friends, kind of found a reason to at least stay there. And kind of be a part of something bigger than myself. And I knew that Sam was going to finish up his, being the 12th man at the end of the next season. And I was kind of starting to get some attraction, more attention from the coaches. I was starting to really kind of find my role within the team. And then when that sophomore season ended, Sam left. I was like, all right, now it's go time. Like, you've done 2 years, you put in your dues. Like, you got 3 years of eligibility left. Like, if you're going to go for it, now's the time to go for it. There's an opportunity. Like, you're already kind of seen as this guy. All you got to do is just go make the most of it. And so that was when I kind of flipped the switch in my brain, and really had a goal that I was working for. I would just say in the first couple years, there really wasn't a goal. It was kind of just going through the motions, getting through the workouts, being a hit and dummy at practice. And then after that second year, it was like, okay, now there's a goal. Now there's something to work for. Yeah. Now you're here for a reason. Right. So I guess getting a sense of purpose, not just being out there.
And when also talking about kind of that like change of pace and flipping the switch, when it came to then representing such a big university, representing the 12th man, what did that kind of give to you? Maybe like good and bad. Were there any pressures, or was it all excitement? Like, what are some of the different emotions that you were presented with when being presented with the 12th man?
To be honest with you, I never really felt the pressure of it. Like, I knew
that's great.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say that that's been that way the entire career. I think like the first game when I walked out there and knew that like I had to play, I felt the pressure of it a little bit, but once I started playing, it was just playing football. I would say the first time I really started to feel pressure was like my 5th year, when I was switching to the other side of the ball, playing offense and actually like playing a meaningful time, not just on special teams, because special teams is what I know, it's what I'm good at. Like I always was just out there trying to have a good time, and I felt comfortable like with it. So I would say I knew that if I would go out there and just be me, like the rest would take care of itself. Like I played football my whole life. I've had a big personality my whole life. Just go out on the field and have fun. And so that's what I tried to do. And maybe I was just too dumb to realize it at the time, but I definitely always tried to, I wouldn't say pressure, but honor
That's
the
awesome.
people.
Yeah, I love that.
Like I would try and honor the student body by wearing that jersey. So like
Yeah.
I would make sure that, I would give max effort on every play. If I needed to go out and, have a good time on the field, like I wanted to be the guy who was dancing on the field and waving at people and just kind of acting like an idiot on the field, because I knew that, I was representing something bigger than myself, right? It's when you're wearing that jersey, it's not necessarily about you. So I knew that if I just kind of gave everything max effort and just did what I was, the rest would kind of take care of itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always try to keep that in the back of my mind that like this jersey isn't about you. It's about the school. It's about the people that have come before you. Like you're out here to honor playing for them.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I think that's something that even like, that's just like such a Texas A&M comment, like such an Aggie description, I think, of what the 12th man means. Because I feel like just my time being here, that's something that people always focus on. It's just the selflessness and the symbols and the history of the university. And so that's good news to know that it didn't add any extra pressure on top of you and that you really embraced it and representing well for the school. And you did. That was actually one of my next questions is, have you always had like a big personality? Because I mean, I remember watching you as a 12th man. You were great in
like
terms
this.
of hyping the crowd up and getting lit for the games and bringing the energy. So you've always had like a big personality growing up, or been that big personality of your friends and family?
yeah, I would definitely say that. I would say I for sure I enjoy attention, and so at that time in my life, I would say like I wasn't the most anxious person, and when you put a spotlight on me, that was like my time to shine. So you give me a scholarship, you give me a number and put me on the field, and then I go out and start making plays. It's like, oh, I get attention. Let's just keep it going. Like let's ramp it up. And like even before that, like there's videos of like my freshman and redshirt freshman year, like me and some of the other like walk-on guys on the sideline, like we were always dancing and acting like idiots on the sideline, headbanging, and just doing our thing. And so I just wanted to bring that to the field. I wanted to bring that fun side because to be completely honest with you, I kind of had a chip on my shoulder about it. And especially like I've said, I wanted to be at the pool drinking beer. Like I've always tried to be as just transparent as possible with who I am and my personality. And because to get a little deeper with it, coming into A&M, I never really felt like I belonged, right? Like I wasn't highly recruited. Like I see these dudes coming in, their entire Instagram is just like workout videos and like motivational quotes. And I'm not going to say I haven't like posted stuff like that, but I always try to like put a funny spin on it, because as this high school kid coming in, I was like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like I don't belong here. Like these dudes are, some of the best players in the country, and they don't go out and drink. They don't go to the pool. They don't do all these things. And so it had me like, that was the pressure I felt, that like, oh, I don't belong here. Like I'm doing something wrong. And then all of a sudden you realize like, no, that's just a front they're putting up like on their social media. Like these dudes are at the bars, like they're having a good time. Like they eat, sleep, drink, breathe just like I do. And so I've always tried to, like when I'm on the field, have as much personality as possible, because I want to show that, hey, your personality can come out when you're playing, and you can have fun when you're playing. And hey, you can also have fun off the field. Like take care of what you got to do on the field, do what you want. So that's kind of been my personality and persona I've tried to keep, is just to be like as fun and as uplifting as possible, because, I don't think sometimes kids can get burned out or work too hard doing the things that they do, because they think that to be in the NFL, I have to be this super disciplined, be perfect, can't eat a cheeseburger, type of person. And that's not the case. And that's not who I am.
Yeah.
No, I love that you said that. That's something that I feel like a lot of athletes go through. Work hard, play harder, right? That's what they always told us.
Exactly.
But thank you so much. We're just going to take a quick break to hear from our sponsors. And when we come back, we'll hear more about Cullen and what he's doing after his time now at Texas A&M.
Welcome back from our break. We are going to go ahead and dive right back in with talking a little bit about the NFL. So Cullen stayed local, decided, well, I guess didn't really decide, but was drafted to the Texans. So tell us about that experience, what the draft process was like for you, and then being able to spend your first 2 years close to home. What was that experience like?
It was awesome. Definitely not something that I thought that I would ever be a part of. I think every little kid has their dreams of their going to the NFL, but obviously those died pretty quickly with me. And then I don't know, going into my 5th year was like, hey, there's a real shot at this. So basically the bowl game happened, which was on like New Year's Eve. The Gator Bowl in Jacksonville. I spent like one extra day in Jacksonville with my family, flew home, and then moved straight to Arizona and went and trained at Exos in Scottsdale for 3 or 4 months, or I guess 3 or 4 months. It's probably like 2.5 months, kind of get ready for the combine. I wasn't invited to the combine, but I did pro day. Went out at pro day and really kind of outperformed, I would say, kind of PR'd and everything.
Oh,
like
great.
Yeah.
Okay, good pro day.
Yeah,
That's
really
the time to
peaked
do
at the
it.
right time, and went and had a great day. And then before that, took a couple of visits to a couple different places, and then kind of after that, draft day comes up, and my agent had actually called me like a week before the draft and was like, "Hey, like the Texans might draft you like in the 7th round next week, but like you never know what's going to happen." But just wanted to give you a heads up. And I'd been talking to a couple other teams that I think were considering me as well, but they were all kind of near the same pick. So I was like, what's going to happen? So kind of like I said earlier, being the guy that likes attention, I'm pretty social. I was like, most people have like big parties and they're going to go in like the 1st or 2nd round. Let's just go ahead and do it for me. Might go undrafted, might go in the 7th round. We'll
As
see.
you should. As you should.
Yeah. So it really ended up working out for the best because I did get drafted. Would have been a little disappointing if I didn't. I knew that I was going to get signed somewhere, but I just didn't know, whether I get drafted. The drafting moment would be really cool. So draft day came around. Had a bunch of people over to my aunt's house. We had a crawfish boil. And kind of just hung around in the backyard. There was like 100 people there. And then like the 6th round rolled around, and I knew it was like going to be 6 or 7. And I was just like, I don't want a bunch of people looking at me. So y'all just like go eat food. My cousin was cooking, and people kind of just like rolled in and out. I got a couple calls from teams like talking to me like, hey, like, after the draft, like if you don't get drafted, like we'd like to sign you. And every time my phone would ring, like I'd pick it up and everyone would get quiet. I'm like, no, like y'all are good. Y'all are good. Yeah. And then the Texans call came, and everyone was around me, and it was like the coolest thing ever. And then I got to watch my face come across the screen and turn around and told everyone I was going to be a Houston Texan, and the rest was kind of history. Yeah.
That's
it was
great.
it was a really cool moment. Yeah.
And
That
you talked too before about how like some of those transitions are at times difficult, especially when it's such a big change. So how did being so close to home help with that transition into that next phase?
Oh, it was the best. Like I'm definitely a mama's boy. Was not ready to move across the country. My brother is completely opposite. He's like, oh, I'm moving to New York next week just for fun. I'm like, all right, dude, like I'll see you later. I'm like, I want to be in Houston. I don't want to leave. So it was super nice to, just be around family. Because I think the NFL, the pressure and the stress does get ratcheted up, and to handle stuff like moving, finding an apartment. There's a lot of things that you don't think about that really my parents have been super great with, and have been able to help me with. It was just nice to be able to have that support system, and being close to home. Because when I went to New York or most recently Seattle, like I'm a little more older, more mature now. Like I've got a little more of it figured out. But leaving college, I mean, it would have been a nightmare if I would have had to move across the country and figure everything out on my own.
Yeah.
So it was nice to kind of get eased into the. My mom doesn't call it the real world, but I'll say the real world. She calls it the fairy tale world.
Oh, what a lot of kids do dream for, right?
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny though. Once you got drafted though, so you said you went to New York. How was that? Was it cold?
Yeah.
A big change of
definitely.
pace.
We would go out to practice and they would be bulldozing the fields, like clearing them from snow.
That's
They'd be having snowball
wild.
fights at practice. I'd have on like 6 hoodies going out to the practice field.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Definitely not something that I was used to. Living in New York was awesome. I never really understood the city that never sleeps until I like lived there for 8 months, and it was I had a lot of fun, and it was great. But yeah, the weather was definitely something I was not used to. I shipped my car up there, and a day before it was scheduled to be shipped back to Houston, like towards the end of the season, I hit black ice, which I had never done before, and like got in a car wreck. So like no, like not like
Oh my
it was
gosh.
kind of serious for my car, but like I was all good.
Okay.
Good. Yeah.
They did have to reschedule practice because I was in such a large traffic jam
That's
that I was in front of.
crazy.
But yeah, so weather, being cold, driving in ice and in snow, like definitely not something I was used to. Completely new experience, but it was cool.
I can't imagine being like raised in Texas, love Texas, and then having to live
Oh,
up north in that weather. I've seen like videos of some teams playing in New York when it's like a literal snowstorm. You can't see the field, and I can't imagine. And
Did
you
you
were probably like, what if you were in one of those videos?
did
I
you?
was
Yeah.
watching.
Did you?
No, for sure. Like I have, like I've never played in snow before. Like when you're in the SEC, 90% of the games you play are in the South, and like it might get cold, but like you're not dealing with like
Oh no.
real stuff. When in New York, we went and played in Chicago, and it was like 14 degrees. The outsides of the field were frozen, and it was like sleeting the whole game. And it was like
Oh gosh.
0 degrees wind chill, and it was like, oh no sleeves, no one's wearing sleeves. Like it's
No.
it's different playing football up there for sure.
See, I'm that player that is, if it's like
Carl
under
is.
70, I'm in my long sleeve and my sweatpants. I
Yes.
hate being cold. If it's raining, cancel practice. Like I'm the dramatic teammate when it comes to bad weather. But out of all your 3 places in Houston and New York and Seattle, which was your favorite living?
They all just kind of had something different to offer. I think Houston was great because I was close to home. It really was nice to have that support system and being able to have like my family and friends come to every game. Like I didn't have to have people to fly up. New York was kind of like the first time where like I got to like another big city and got to live in it besides Houston. Like there was so much to do, so much to see. It was really it was kind of mind blowing that people, there's like 11 million people in a city and just everyone's stuff all the time. It's a completely different lifestyle. And then Seattle's like one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. I mean, the rain came, and when the rain came, it was like, this is a little scary. But for the first like 6 weeks I was there, I mean, it was sunny and 70 every single day. Like it's on like it's super mountainous. There's a volcano like in the skyline, and there's lakes, like, sounds and bays surrounding the whole city. I mean, it really was one of the most beautiful places I ever lived.
Did you go to that gum wall?
My parents did. I did not.
Okay.
So like, I don't really like admit this publicly. I think I did, and it's come back to me. But like, I don't do like mouth stuff. Like chewed gum is like my big fear. So like, I had no desire to go to that. Like it's disgusting.
That is so funny.
My parents did a picture at it, and like I just like.
That's so
funny.
Okay, what about what is it like the Central Market? They have like
Pike Place.
Pike. That's what it is.
Yeah,
yes.
where they throw the fish and stuff. So
yeah.
I was supposed to meet my parents down there after one of the games when they were there for a while, but I didn't make it down there. I'm gonna be honest. I was there for a pretty short time before I got hurt. So a lot of it was just kind of trying to get my feet under me, and like during the season, you don't have like that much time to explore, and where you like where Seattle's facilities are, like you're not really close to like downtown Seattle, like where a lot of like more famous stuff is. Like I only went down there a couple times like for dinners and stuff. So
yeah, I'm sure.
Unfortunately, didn't get to see a lot of cool stuff.
Oh, that's okay, because I'm also sure that the schedule is like college athletics but on steroids. So
I know.
it
Allie and
makes
I
sense.
asked you questions like you were up there for vacation.
Yeah. I'm like, we went there one time, at least I did, for actually a soccer tournament where all you did was do touristy things. So
Yeah,
very
same.
different, very different.
The schedule of a professional athlete is way easier than a college athlete. But don't tell anyone that.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that. Actually.
So what is the differences in schedules?
Number one, there's no school.
Yeah, that's true. It's your full-time job.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, to learn a playbook, it's a lot bigger than it is in college. Like, you do have to study and figure it out, but like, once you've got it, you've got it. There's definitely film to be watched, but to be completely honest with you, in the NFL, there's basically 2 days a week that you're like really working. So to kind of take you through a typical week, the week starts on Wednesday. So Wednesday, it's 7 to 5. Thursday, same thing, 7 to 5, and then Friday is generally a fast Friday, so you're out. It's 7 to noon. So half days on Fridays, and then depending on like whether you're traveling or not, Saturday's your travel day. It's like a walkthrough, and you're traveling. Sunday you play. Monday you don't generally come in till like noon, and then you're there till 3 or 4, and then Tuesday's your off day.
Okay.
So it's not, and it's like you're working out like twice a week. I mean, you could push 2 to 3 more times a week, but in terms of like, I would say you don't really get to have too much of a social life during the season. There's definitely more to do in season when you're a college athlete, but in the off season, when you're a college athlete, like you're still in school, there's still an off season. Like there's still you still have workouts every day. And don't get me wrong, my job technically right now is to work out. So I wake up, I go work out, I go to rehab, but I mean, my days are over at like 1. You got to like worry about like what I eat, basically.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like an NFL schedule. I would say for 6 months, your life is kind of decided for you, very much like a college athlete. But I would say it's similar. You get to spend more time studying football and less time studying class, I would say. But overall, I would say it's not quite as grueling. You're not pulling all-nighters studying for football. Like your rest is paramount than making a C+ in biology.
Yeah.
So.
That's actually really interesting because it makes complete sense, but part of me just would have thought that it would be so much more difficult. But you are taking out the school part. And it's just a different phase.
Yeah, like a college athlete's going to start workouts at 5, then you got class till 2, and then like with football, you're in meetings from 2 to 4, practice from like 4:30 to 7, and then you might have study hall afterwards.
Yeah.
Like
no time to breathe.
They can space out meetings for an entire work day. So you take out school, you have more time to break down film, more time to study on your own. Like where you would be in class, like you're getting everything you have to get done with football done during those hours.
Yeah.
So you have the evenings off, unless you need to, brush up on some film on something or study the playbook or stuff like that.
So when it comes to kind of a little switch up, but when it comes to talking about college and NFL, what helped equip you at A&M to then move into this phase of life, but really like being a collegiate student athlete to then being a professional athlete?
I would say the biggest thing that A&M has done to help is let me take a step back, and it's more about being in the SEC and playing against that high level of competition, right? And also A&M also, which I would say a lot of schools in the SEC do have the resources, but A&M has, they have team sports psychologists on the team. They have nutritionists. They have meal plans. They have all these things that you have access to, so you know how to maximize your time and maximize the resources available to you to be the best athlete that you can be, mentally, physically, spiritually, on and off the field.
Yeah.
Where a lot of, and then even on the field, the competition that you face at A&M is football, soccer. I mean, it's the best conferences in the country. So when you get to the next level, you're playing against competition, not that you're used to playing against. It's definitely a step up, but there's a lot of familiar faces of people that you've been around. front of a stadium of 70 or 80,000. You're used to playing in front of that.
Mm-hmm.
The lights aren't as bright as some of the other guys. I would say, because when you get to the NFL, like, it doesn't matter what school you came from, how big it was, how small it was. If you're talented, they're going to find you.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of those guys, they come in and it's a whole new world. They've never talked to a sports psychologist. They've never had a nutritionist. They don't know how to take care of their body, use the resources available to them. They have to develop a whole new routine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some people are from Division III schools and they played in front of 700 people, and now all of a sudden they walk out into a stadium of 80,000 on TV in front of 10 million, and it's a lot coming at them. There's a big transition period. So I would say that's kind of the best thing that A&M has done for me preparing myself for the NFL.
Yeah, you are not kidding with talking about those things. Carl and I have mentioned them so many times, how much we miss Slocum. We don't get it anymore. We don't get to use those resources. It's like, oh, why did I take those for granted in the time that I was here? But that is great. Those are all, I think, exactly what I would be expecting you to say, because we are very fortunate here as student 100%. Athletes. Yeah.
When I tell even people from around the SEC, like who are still at like major Division I programs, and when they hear about like the resources that we had provided to us and everything that A&M has to offer, like even some of their minds are blown. Like, whoa, y'all got, this and that and got to do this. They kind of just like treat you the best. Yeah. So
that is so funny.
That is funny. No, I'm glad that you said that too. Like Ali said, I think that's something that we take for granted a lot, and then you don't realize it's like amazing treatment that you're getting until someone kind of tells you, basically, like, oh, we don't get that.
You have to cook for yourself.
Yes. Or until you're done.
Yes.
And you're a part of the retired crew, like we are.
Hey, I'm still playing. We're not retired.
Yeah, you're not. But we are.
We are.
Former student athletes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
Now
just prediction.
Hopefully.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe I'm retired. I don't know. We'll see.
Well,
that's not really my choice. I'm trying to play, but we'll see if anyone wants me to play.
No, I'm sure.
Somebody will want you.
Yes.
After watching this, they will too. They'll
they're like, oh, hold on.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, Karl, we have all of this was amazing, and I have absolutely loved hearing about your journey in the NFL. Karl has listed out some very important questions to ask you. That was me being sarcastic, and you'll notice in a second.
It's not that many, but have your thinking cap on. Okay. First question: LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
LeBron James.
Oh, why?
I like that answer.
I mean, like, if we're gonna compare championships, like, okay, sure, Michael Jordan's the GOAT. I just kind of want someone from my generation to be the GOAT.
Yeah.
And I think maybe Jordan's a better winner. Maybe you could say that. But I think that if you look at the all-around best basketball player that has ever lived, I personally think it's LeBron James. Okay. I'm also not a hooper, so
me either.
Trying to be hopeful that I got to watch. I'm a huge LeBron James fan, so I'm just hoping that me being able to watch him has worked out, and that's how we'll go down in history.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure LeBron will like that answer too.
Yep. When he listens to this.
Yeah, when he listens to in, right. Okay, even though you said you're not a hooper, it's kind of relevant right now. So Miami Heat or the Denver Nuggets?
The Nuggets are going to win, but I'm pulling for the Heat. Actually,
I've heard the Heat a lot.
Them, but like, I think it's like the best team in basketball versus just like a culture in Jimmy Butler. And like watching Jimmy Butler go off is crazy. But I mean, I also think Jokic and Jamal Murray are easy to like as well. Like I think Jimmy Butler's like so cool, but watching Jokic play football or play basketball is like insane. So
yeah.
I think the Nuggets are gonna pull it off.
I think they will too.
Yeah, you may not be a hooper, but you have the knowledge. You were throwing out some names, and I'm like, I'm gonna let you two have your moment because I have no idea.
I've just been watching lately. It's been fun to watch, though. It's been fun to watch. Okay. Who has been your funniest teammate? Either in college or within the NFL or whoever just comes to mind first.
Easy. It's Haro Alaka. The dude is a clown.
Was he? He was at A&M, right?
He was here. Yeah, he played with them here.
Yeah. No, I played with A&M. We came in as freshmen together. We spent all 5 years together. One of my best friends in the whole world has robbed me many times. I would literally be like sleeping in my apartment when we were at Reveille Ranch as freshmen, and I'd like hear some like rumbling in my apartment. And he'd be like looking through my fridge, like taking stuff.
That's so
many
funny.
free meals out of me. Yeah, no, I mean the guy's a sleaze bag.
That is so.
Just go ahead and quote me on that. The dude's a clown. When you just make
that
that
so funny.
you're gonna put something out there.
Okay, we will quote you. He will feel honored that you said that too when he tunes in too. Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite hobby outside of football?
Cooking.
Oh, nice.
Hunting, fishing, cooking. Those are my things.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
I'm making like a Cajun fettuccine Alfredo pasta tonight.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right.
We're gonna
In your new
chef a little bit.
kitchen.
It's always good just to like make a good steak. I would say my favorite style of cooking is like barbecue and like smoking stuff, just because it's like an all-day process, and you can drink beer while you do it. Thanks.
Thanks and
well, then on that note, right, you'll like my next question: chimneys or Dixie chicken?
I'm not gonna do this. You can't. No. If you're gonna ask me which. You know what? No.
That's
I like them equally.
No comment.
Do you, or are you just trying to be more biased or unbiased?
I would say I spent more time at Chimmy's in college. When I go back, I tend to go to Chimmy's still. I spend a little more time at the Dixie Chicken. I would say they're just like not comparable. Like the vibe's different.
The vibes are different.
The Sunday afternoon, like I'm going to the Chicken, go play some dominoes.
But I feel like it allows you to realize people's personalities. So you just kind of showed us you have both. You have the Chimmy's party vibe, and then the chill Dixie Chicken vibe.
If it's Friday night, I'm going to Chimmy's. We're dumping gasoline on the fire,
That is so funny.
That was our last random question. But like we told you in the beginning, we always ask our guests a final question before we actually close and exit. And that question is for you: if you could share a cheesy, memorable, or favorite tagline or quote that has been told to you that you've seen somewhere that resonates with you for whatever reason, and represents you well, what would it be?
So I was thinking about this when you asked me earlier, and one that I've kind of been harping on recently is do what you've always done and get what you've always got. And you can take that however you want to take it. If you're kind of in a place in your life where you're stuck, maybe you need to try something different. Because if you stay in that same, keep your wheels spinning, doing what you've always done, like you're never going to make any progress. If you've been performing at a high level, or you're, happy with where you're at in life, keep doing what you're doing because, that the outcome will be the same. So something with my knee, that going through this process with the ACL, a lot of days you kind of have dark days where things don't feel right, or like you think that maybe you're behind the curve, and it's a kind of a weird place to be in because I've never done it before. Mm-hmm. But I also know myself, and I would say that I personally believe that I'm a hard worker, and generally if I'm working like if I feel like I'm working hard enough, that's usually a pretty good sign that I'm outworking others. And if I don't feel like I'm working hard enough, then that's a pretty good sign that I'm probably working as hard as others. And so I've just really tried to keep the mindset of like, look, if I feel like I'm working hard, like don't get too far ahead of yourself. Like if you feel like you put in a good day's work, your entire career, when you put in a good day's work, it is paid off for you. So don't watch someone else rehabbing next to you or watch someone else's journey and see them doing more than you. That might just be what they're showing on that day. Yeah. So do what you've always done, get to the point where you feel like you've put in a good day's work and you've worked hard enough, and hopefully the rest of it, the knee will take care of itself.
Yes. And I do want to real fast because we didn't fully hit on that. And I know that's normally our last question, but Cullen, you did tear your ACL and you're currently going through rehab. So a lot on your mental and physical when it comes to that journey. moving forward, what are some of the goals that you have for yourself?
With myself, I would say my entire goal of this knee has been to just not let it beat me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Obviously, my goal is to go and play football again. But at the end of the day, in the business of the NFL, that's not always your choice, right? Like, you don't really know when your career is going to end.
Yeah.
And so my whole goal when I tore my knee, when I got the surgery, after about the first 2 weeks where I said I was retired, once I kind of got out of the funk of the first 2 weeks, I kind of told myself, look, you're not going to let this knee beat you. You may never play football again, but you're not going to be the guy that's going to say, I blew out my knee and then I was never the same athlete.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't want to live with that on my shoulders for the rest of my life. So my whole goal is I'm going to do everything that I can to be ready for the season, be ready for training camp, put my body and my mind in a place where I'm ready to go, where if I get the call, I'm ready. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. If I don't get that call, it's okay. I'll be okay. Recently I've learned that football is not my only personality. It's not all that's not all that I am. So, but I do know one thing is the knee will not beat me. I will be ready when I'm ready. And I won't stop until I get to that point where, hey, I know that I can compete with some of the best athletes in the world again.
Yes.
And then if I don't get the opportunity, it's all good. But I'm going to get to that point.
That is a incredible perspective. And that will carry you very, very far. Very far. So I'm really happy to hear that. Yeah.
It already has.
Yeah.
I like that. I relate with that too. It's so easy to think like, oh, why did this happen to me? And I did all this. I did everything right. But I love that you said that. And I'm sure whoever may be going through similar things as well and is listening will definitely take that and apply that to whatever situation that they're in.
And you have 2 new cheerleaders right here supporting you every step of the way.
Absolutely. Yes. Rooting for you. Well, Cullen, you've come so far already, just in terms of your whole career over all your time of playing football, in terms of coming in as a walk-on at Texas A&M to where you are now. You should definitely be proud of yourself and all that you've accomplished and all that we know that you are capable of accomplishing in your future. So like Allie just said, you definitely have 2 new cheerleaders here for you, cheering you on in whatever we see you doing, and just definitely wish you the best of luck in your future. And just want to thank you again for coming on and having fun with us. This was a fun interview that we did with you. A great first time interview via Zoom, like we said earlier, with you. And just, definitely want to give you a round of applause for sharing your story with us here on Behind the Number and just giving us your time in the midst of moving and all the chaos around it. So thank you again.
Yes, thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for having me on. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This episode of Behind the Number is brought to you guys by Academy Sports and Outdoors, and we will see you guys next time on our next episode.